Hey guys, it's Tish Latrice here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I make my wigs using the closure with straight hair. And if you guys are new, just please make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and also the bell so that way you guys will get notifications on my new videos. Okay guys, so first what we're going to do is we're going to get some bleach. Make sure you guys have a bowl, a comb, something to stir up the bleach with. Make sure you guys have thread, of course, a needle, and also some T-pins so that way we can help keep everything in place. Okay guys, so first I'm going to start off by getting some powdered bleach, and I'm going to put it in the bowl. And then I'm going to get some developer number 40, and I'm going to pour it into the powder. Now, I do not measure it simply because I do it until I get a certain consistency. Now, you don't want it too watery, because if you have it too watery, it seeps through the lace and then it goes to the hair and it bleaches the hair. Now, for everybody who wants to bleach the hair anyway, that's completely fine. But if you're like me and you want to keep this wig black, then you want to make sure that it's thick, so that way it won't ruin any of the other hair. Now, after I get it to the consistency that I want, I take it and I put it on top of the closure. I'm just sitting it on top of the closure. I am not pushing it through. The reason why is because I don't want it to go through and bleach the rest of the hair. So I just lightly sit it on top, and I make sure I get the entire closure from where the baby hairs start all the way back. And then after I rinse that out, I'm going to put it on my mannequin head and use the T-pins to keep everything in place. Otherwise, everything will be falling around. Now, make sure when you put the T-pins in that the closure is completely flat. You don't want any lumps or clumps back there. Here, I'm starting to put the weft into the closure. Now, if you watch any of my other videos, you see sometimes I start at the closure, sometimes I start at the back. Really, it just depends on that day and how I feel. Most people do start either at the frontal or the closure, but I don't think it really matters because my wigs turn out really good either way it goes. So I'm starting off by taking a needle and put it at the very end of the weft, and then stick it into the spandex cap, and then I'm going to pull it through and I'm going to make a knot. How I make a knot is I take the thread and I wrap it around the needle a few times and I just pull it through, and that's a really good knot. You want to do that at least 2 times, I would say. Sometimes I do it 3-4 times depending on how tight that knot is, but it's just whatever your personal preference is. And then I just go ahead and start sewing. But one thing, when you are sewing your wefts into the cap where the elastic band is, do not sew it into the elastic band. Simply sew it into the very first level of the material. If you go through the elastic band, it's going to throw off the whole wig. So just do the very top mesh level and then keep going. I mean the very top spandex. I don't know what I mean. Just do the very top layer and y'all be alright. At the very end of every layer, I put a knot at the end of it, so that way it keeps it in place. And then I do not cut my wefts because I like to reuse the hair. So I just flip it over and then start sewing there. Now, don't forget, every time you do the flip over method, you put the needle through the wefts at the very end, so that way you won't have any lumps over there. and then you just keep sewing all the way up until you reach the closure, and just keep going all the way around till you get to the top of the head. Once you get to the top, I'll show you guys what to do. Real quick, I want to show you guys what to do once you get to the closure. You guys are gonna take it and stick it through the width, the very edge of the width, and then knot it, and then pull it through. Now, since I didn't sew down my closure in the very beginning, I'm about to start sewing it down here. At the very beginning of the closure where it meets the spandex cap, I'm just going to take the needle, stick it through the spandex cap, and then stick it through the closure, make the knot, and then begin sewing around. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking like, oh my gosh, why is she making her wig like that? But you know what? It really doesn't make that big of a difference. If you guys want to start at the front, you can start at the front. Really, it just depends on my mood. And this day, obviously, I just feel like starting at the back. So just do whatever makes you guys comfortable. If you're not comfortable with doing it the way that I'm doing it, then just go ahead and start at the front. It's just personal preference, honestly. Once I get to the closure part though, I do make sure that I sew it together really close. That way I avoid any lumps in that area. Because if it's not close, then it's going to look like you have a cone head. And like I said before, y'all, we do not want any cone heads. We do not want to walk around looking like a cone head. That's a negative. So I'm gonna start at the beginning of the closure, sew all the way up and then the very back, and then once I get to the side of the back, I'm gonna knot it and then cut the thread and then start at the very beginning of the front and work my way back. I'm doing that so that way I can avoid any lumps or clumps or anything like that. I want the front of the closure to be as flat as absolutely possible. I don't want it to look all bulky at the top as some wigs get when they're not sewn on correctly. After you get up about this far, that's when I stopped going around from side to side. When I started to go straight across. And also, when I go across, I'm not gonna have the wefts as close to each other. I'm gonna have them kind of spread out because I don't want it to be bulky back there. And when you have them spread out, it gives a more flat look as well. Once I get to the spot right before the closure, I'm going to take the weft and I'm going to line it up to the closure. And then I'm going to sew through the very end of the weft to knot it. And then after that, I'm going to sew it. But when I sew it down, I'm not going to go just to the cap this time. I'm going to go into the closure, just the very end of the closure. So that way, once I'm finished and I wear this wig, the hair is not going to be a huge gap between the hair and in the closure. It's going to blend it in well together. Okay, so now that I am done finally sewing this wig, what I'm going to do is take it off and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to cut the spandex cap that's underneath the closure. We don't need that anymore. We have the closure in place of it. And that way, when we part our hair, we won't see black from the closure. It's going to look like a scalp. Be sure when you are cutting this though, that you're not cutting the thread that's holding the closure to the spandex cap. Just make sure you go around it as close as you can, but do not cut that thread, ladies. My scissors were very, very dull, so I struggled cutting this, but this is what it should look like when you're finished. So here's the end result after sewing it together. Now, I didn't do the baby hairs or plucking or anything like that, so let's get started with that. But first, ladies, take a look at this. This is so pretty already, and it's not even completely finished. Alright, y'all, it is baby hair time. Baby hairs time. Now, I couldn't find my razor for my eyebrows that I usually use, so I just had to work with what I had. I took these scissors and I figured this is better than nothing. And y'all, let me tell y'all, this was not easy, and it actually took me a long time because the scissors are so dull, but I made it work. Plucking takes so long, so I'm not going to show y'all the entire time I'm plucking because it does take a whole lot of time, but I'm just going to show you guys the gist of it so that way you guys have more of an idea of what to do. But basically, you just keep plucking until you get whatever desired look that you guys want. Some people like it plucked pretty thin, some people like it thicker. It doesn't really matter, it's just personal preference. And you're a little extra and the closure isn't looking exactly how you want it to, just do another thin layer and start plucking, and that way it should get the desired look that you guys really want. But for me, it took me forever because I am so extra when it comes to my wigs. On my baby hairs, I use this setting mousse. I find that it leaves the baby hairs really soft instead of really hard like gel does. So I just put some of this over the front, and then I go ahead with my toothbrush and start working on these baby hairs. So here it is, ladies. This is the end result. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.